There we go. Good morning, everyone. It is mat class this morning, and we will start on the floor, but we will start sitting up rather than lying down right off the bat. You probably want to go ahead and gather your props, as always, a blanket or something to sit on or something to put under the back of your head. Weights are great. And a ball or a yoga block, rolled up towel, something to put between the inner thighs. And then we go ahead and sit. So I like to sit cross-legged. You might have a different preference. Sometimes sitting on the heels feels pretty nice. Or you could even sit up on a chair. Really, what we're striving for is a vertical position for the spine, right? Albeit with all its curves. And the ability of the breath to flow in an orientation to gravity that we hold the rest of the day. Right. Enough words. So we're sitting up in some way. Let me find the sitting bones. So you'll feel those bony points at the bottom of the pelvis. Orient a little bit over them so you can feel if you're tilted forward or back. And then place yourself right on the centers. Above the pelvis, you want to feel a long line that connects smoothly into the bottom of the ribs. We're talking about the bones. Upward, you want to feel the head stacking over the chest, which of course stacks over the pelvis. And then as you breathe, especially if you're prone to a little bit of neck tension, I just very slightly draw the soft palate back and up, and maybe by a quarter of an inch, a half an inch, tilt the chin down. When you're there, then we start our breathing or our conscious breathing. It's Pilates. We still breathe in through the nose. We breathe out through the mouth, rounding the lips slightly. Sitting vertical, we breathe in through the nose. And then exhale out through the mouth. You take your own time to do this. So each breath is your natural breath length. Make sure that they go into completion. And because we're upright, get a sense of the breath's relationship to ground. Inhales moving down toward it. Feel the weight of the breath descending the length of your torso. And then exhales rising up through the crown. Now here, the inhales often feel a little bit more like they naturally drop down. That's a good thing. For the exhales, we might need to add a little bit more consciousness of transversus. So I want you to think about the big span of muscle that lies underneath the skin, underneath like 3 other layers of muscle in the body, lays very close to the internal organs and wraps around your waist, right? Sideways, like a corset. When you inhale, that corset expands. When you exhale, that corset contracts toward the side of the waist, the sides of the waist, flattening the front and the back inward just a little bit. Inhale, the sides expand a little bit. And exhale, the sides contract back toward the front, front toward the back, gathering in at the sides of your waist. Because we want the exhale to be in an upward direction rather than pushing down through the base of pelvic floor, we establish support there as well. Release the next exhale and pause. And then in that pause, lightly contract pelvic floor. Keep that pelvic floor support and inhale down into it. And then when you exhale, feel like the breath starts there with that supportive foundation at the base of the pelvis and proceeds upward as the contraction through transversus proceeds upward. We've got about a minute more of breathing, so rest assured we aren't going to be here forever. Use your inhales to establish the base of your core as you contract pelvic floor. And then your exhales ripple upward from bottom to top, feeling that dynamic contraction through transversus. Please take 3 more rounds of breath. Good. When you've done your last round of breath, make your way down to your mat. So we are going to be lying flat, and I'll give you all time to get there. So I'm kind of checking my monitor. It's good to see you all this morning. As you lie down, as I said, do make yourself comfortable. So maybe a little bit of layer of blanket or towel under the back of your head, a small pillow. You can put a ball between your knees if that prop is useful to you. We are going to be going into imprint and release. So if you don't need it, don't worry about it. Bend the knees, make sure the feet are well grounded and they're not so close that they're pushing your low back flat, and not so far away from you that they're arching artificially through your spine, that they cause an artificial arch. Just find your neutral curves. And have an exhale with your hands on your low belly, aware of the action of transversus. You feel the belly wall flattening in, not in a tensing way, but in a way that chases the breath. Kegel and inhale. Breath still moving down to the pelvis, even though we're lying on our backs. And then squeeze the ball if you're using it. Begin your exhale. Feel the contraction rippling upward. Make your imprint as well. This morning, we'll stay here in imprint, holding onto the Kegel and inhaling in place. Squeeze the ball perhaps, begin your exhale and return to neutral, preserving core support as you find mobility in the spine. Not so many words now. Exhale and imprint. Using your Kegel in your imprint, calmly breathing in. And then on your exhale, return to neutral. We do this just 2 more times, acknowledging that this is a very slow, deliberate movement. Working through the details of breath, as well as the mechanics of the spinal movement, the movement of the pelvis. We're in our last repetition now. And when you've returned to neutral, slide both legs down the mat. Put the ball off to the side, of course, if you've been using it. And flex and point the toes. I like to inhale as I pull the toes up to the nose and exhale as I point the toes away. We do that just 4 or 5 times, putting a little bit of ease, not only into the ankles and the feet, but upstream into the pelvis as the hips rock lightly. And then let one leg long on the mat and bend the other knee as we prepare for hip release. So I'll simulate here as I'm sitting. You guys are lying down. We'll start in the inward direction. So in your neutral spine, prepare with an exhale, Kegel, and inhale, drop the bent knee across and slide the leg down. On your exhale, turn outward from the hip, bend the knee to pull the heel up. Inhale, across the midline and down. Exhale outward and pull the heel up. 4 total, please. Apply your breath connections to the movement. That's why there's choreography for the breath. And when you've done your last one, we continue with the same leg in the opposite direction. Kegel, inhale, knee drops to the side and the leg stretches. Exhale, rolls inward and through the inner thigh line, you bend the knee and draw the heel up. 4 total. Good. Maintaining your breath focus and integrating that with your movement, create a smoothness, a gracefulness in whatever movement you're doing. And when you've done your last one in the outward direction, slide the leg long. So both legs are long just for a moment, long enough to maybe pull the toes up and point the feet away, re-rocking the pelvis and resettling. Then you bend the other knee and prepare for the other side with an exhale that sets the tone of your core. On your inhale breath as you Kegel, drop the bent knee inward and slide the leg down. On your exhale, turn outward from the hip, bend the knee, and pull up from under the inner back of your thigh. 4 total. Good. Let nice exchange of air, breath in, breath out. And when you've done your 4th one, please reverse. When you've done your last one in the 2nd direction, pardon me, slide both legs down the mat just briefly. Flex and point the feet. And then bend both legs. We're going to go a little bit out of order this morning, out of the order that we have been using for our warm-up. If you like to use weights for warming up the shoulders, go ahead and grab those. And you can put a ball between your knees or your feet again. Knees are bent. We start with the triceps. So as we hold a neutral posture and focus on core breath, we'll have the arms extended forward and be just bending and straightening the elbows to exercise the triceps muscles. With the arms forward, push the shoulders forward and back to the front of the ribs and then to the back of the ribs until you feel the spot in the middle. Exhale there, and from your grip on your weights, from your triceps, Kegel, and inhale, bend your elbows. Your hands will drop back towards your shoulder tops. Keep the chest open, please, and exhale, extend through the elbows using firming your triceps. We do a set of 5. Applying breath connection. Remember about the inner thighs, and even if you're not using a ball between the knees, be aware of the big toes, be aware of the connection across the inner hips with those muscles. When you've extended your arms forward the last time, then we're going to open and close to the side. Same 2-breath pattern. So centering the shoulders, prepare with an exhale. As you Kegel and inhale, open the arms out to the side, away from your chest. And then exhale and return, arms forward of the shoulders. So a nice lateral rotation of the arms and the shoulders. We do 5 of these, so we probably have a couple more left. And when you've done your last one, arms extend forward a final time for our final shoulder warm-up. And I'm watching, so I'll wait for you. If you're there, center the shoulders. We use a 2-breath pattern with this one as well. So we prepare with an exhale, aware of feet, aware of inner thighs, aware of core. Kegel, please get that. Start your inhale and then reach the arms back as the breath drops down. Begin your exhale first and then movement as you return the arms forward. 5 of these. That's it. As you return the arms forward, begin to become aware of the muscles at the bottom of the ribs. Of course, you know that we don't want the bottom of the ribs to be lifting and lowering as you move the arms back and forth. We want stability in the middle spine. When you've done your last one, return the arms down by your sides and release your weights for a moment. So we did go a little bit out of order on purpose. I wanted you to be aware of the muscles at the waist and the bottom of the ribs, so that when we roll over now and do spinal rotation, okay, from side lying, knees bent, hips and shoulders stacked, that you know that as we open toward the bottom, across the axis of the ribs, we're twisting without displacing the ribs forward or back, side to side, right? So we're lying on our sides. You've got an extra layer of cushion or pillow under your head so your neck doesn't feel broken. The hips and the knees are stacked. You can certainly use a ball between your knees to help create some space in the hips and connection in your thighs. Palms are forward. You might have a weight. Exhale here. Kegel and inhale, begin to turn the head upward and lift the arm, feeling that natural unfolding of the spine. Squeeze the ball if you're using it. Exhale and twist through the length of your ribs, finally turning at the bottom of the ribs and in the waist without shifting off of your axis. Use your next exhale to return from twist, aware of your up and down line, your axis, as you rotate around it. Only 3 here, so you may have already begun your next repetition. That's fine. We inhale and turn the head as you lift the arms, squeeze inner thighs, and exhale. Open into twist. Take tension out of the low back. And ask your core muscles, your oblique muscles, to support you as you move the weight of the top side of your body open and closed. A third and final repetition, finishing that off if you haven't, and then you roll to the other side. Good. Set it up the same way. Hips and shoulders stacked, knees, ball or not, but they're stacked as well. Arms are in front without collapsing the shoulders into the neck or the chest. Kegel, inhale, turn the head, lift the arm. Squeeze the ball, exhale, open into twist. Hold the open twist and take an honest breath in. Pull it all the way down through the hips. And from the core, begin your exhale as you return. Final or third repetition. Yes. We come onto hands and knees. Yeah, take your time. Take your time. If you've done 3, you're done. But if you're in the middle of that last one, go ahead and do it. And I know most of you are muted, but you can always wave at me and go, hey, hold up. We come to hands and knees. We'll do some cat stretch. And here we've had a little bit more thorough warm up for the shoulders. So ideally, we feel confident in rotating through those joints as we do the spinal manipulation. Center it off. We start in a neutral. The head is part of your spine too, so line it up. And then take the gaze forward between the hands. Kegel and inhale here. Feel the breath moving all the way down through the hips. Exhale, aware of your inner thighs, your feet begin to round the spine from the bottom upward, rippling into your flexed curve. Hold here. Inhale, press into the fingertips, not into the wrists, and exhale, return through neutral. And then open the top of the chest and upper back, and inhale, extend through the upper spine. Release that, and do just one more. So brevity and repetitions, but a lot of focus in each phase of the movement. A lot of focus with the breath. Unshrug those shoulders, open the upper chest and back before you extend. Right. And then we lie on the back. Hip rolls. Ball between the knees or the feet if you like to use it. And we only did a couple repetitions with cat stretch because hip rolls is a lot like cat stretch. Right. We want the feet well placed again, so be conscious of where they are. You want to feel like you can use them into the ground effectively. We have a neutral spine to begin with. You want to remove or lower the height of your headrest. And here, just have an exhale. Feel the inner thighs, feel the core, the directionality of it. The breath is upward. Kegel and inhale. And now on this exhale, begin to round your spine, working through an imprint and lifting the tailbone in each vertebra one at a time, bending through all the vertebral joints as you extend the hips. As you come all the way up, breath rippling upward, movement rippling upward, resting on the shoulder tops and the feet. Kegel, inhale. Squeeze the ball, exhale, and from the top of your spine downward, return to the mat. Not collapsing the shoulders or the chest, but just letting the ribs ease back, letting the lower back drop down, allowing the pelvis to find neutral once more. 2 more, please. Easy articulation through hips and shoulders as we find that primary spinal movement and extension of the hips. Easy breath, right? By now, very confident of where you want to go with it, how it feels to have that support. We do a 3rd and final repetition. Mm-hmm. When you return to ground from this one, put your ball or yoga block off to the side and take any stretch you need to for the hamstrings. Right, so you might need to just stretch a leg out. You might want to hug the knees in and move around a little bit. We'll put the feet to the floor eventually, returning to bent knees and neutral spine. And if you want to have a little bit of a blanket or something under the back of your head, you can do that. Ooh, there is a giant spider. So I'm just going to let him be. Sorry, squirrel. Okay, we're lying on our backs. The feet are on the ground. And we're preparing to go ahead and do some tabletop work as a way to find our complete spinal flexion. So from on your neutral, lying on the back position, make it a Kegel and inhale. And on this exhale, make your imprint. Feel the flexion beginning at the base of your spine. A long stretch through the tail, a deep contraction through the abs, a spreading across your back. Now let the rest of your spine, especially your bottom ribs, feel grounded as well, and open the chest. On the following exhale, I want you to lift a leg to tabletop, staging through the point of the foot and lifting the shin. When you have that, we do the same thing with the second side. Feel the activity in the foot. Don't just fling your foot up, right? Point it and feel movement from the ground. Right, knees together. Once you're there, exhale. And as you squeeze inner thighs, place your hands behind your head. We are going to do our ab prep with hands supporting the head at first. On your inhale breath, with the head resting back, just roll your chin downward. Lengthening, feel an opening through the cervical spine, but not a real assertive stretch there. Now, squeeze the inner thighs, and as you exhale, bend forward. The head comes up, the shoulders come up, maybe the bottom of the shoulder blades, and you feel that deepest curve in the spine. Inhale here. Squeeze the thighs, keep your tailbone on the mat, and exhale, feel your spine sequentially returning. Low back, bottom of the ribs, all the way up to behind the shoulders and the head. Nod the chin. And we exhale, bend forward. Sequential here too, the back of the head lifts, the top of the shoulders, the middle of the shoulder blades, maybe even the bottom. Have a breath. And exhale, lower. From that foundation in your pelvis, stretch long against the ground. Please do 3 more, or a total of 5. You might already be on the next one. That's it. And last one, probably for most of us. When you've done your last one, you can bring your arms down by your sides, but please hold on to your imprint. Arms by the sides, imprint steady. You'll exhale and lower one foot mindfully into the ground. And then the next foot, now don't be sloppy about this, 2 feet into the ground. Keep your imprint, please. Place your hands behind your head. Same ab prep, the feet are on the ground, we're imprinted, and listen closely. I'd like you to nod your chin to your chest on inhale. And exhale, bend forward. In your forward bend, I want you to find a place where you can breathe. And here we are still imprinted. The lower back is unstrained, not working. Relax your hip creases. And on the next exhale, allow your pelvis to return to neutral. Maintain the height of your upper body. Feel a centering in the muscles in the interior of the pelvis rather than the back. Relaxing into the hips. Exhale, come just a little higher and unshrug the shoulders from your ears. Inhale. Stay neutral in the low back now and exhale, lower. We do 4 more ab preps. You have the option of reaching the arms by your sides if you prefer that variation. Continue as you're ready, nodding, maintaining an anchor in the interior of the pelvis and bending forward. Having your breath and an exhale, lowering. And if you feel like you've done 3 or 4 really good ab preps and you've gotten that sense of connection to your core, right? You don't necessarily have to do the remainder, right? We want to go into effective connection rather than exhaustion. Beautiful, guys. Remember that feeling of the pelvis settling into neutral, supporting the lift of the upper body as you bend forward. Yes. And when you're done, I'll know you're done because you can stretch your legs out long. If you're done, just find your breath. And you can flex and point your feet if you like. We're also going to just rock the feet right and left. So with your legs long and your feet gently flexed, rock both the toes, sets of toes right, both sets of toes left, rolling over the base of the heels. Good. And then shake out those feet and roll over onto your front as we continue with extension. Stretch out long on your belly. Lengthen the legs along the mat and bring the inner thighs together. We're going to have breaststroke prep number 1 arms with the hands up near the shoulders, the elbows bent. We go in order this morning, breaststroke prep 1, 2, and 3. So the first one is a nice extension that is the mirror image of ab prep, really. We have our legs together, the bottom of the pubic bones forward, the toes gently pointed, and the inner thighs active. Kegel and inhale, spreading wide across the upper chest and back. And then as you exhale, stretch the legs, engage the inner thighs, and begin to extend the upper spine, breastbone reaching forward and upward as the shoulders peel back out of the chest. Hold here, kegling and inhaling. And then before you move back down to the ground, stretch the legs, engage inner thighs with your exhale, and pull long through the hips so that as you land, we don't crease or kink the spine. Please do 2 more of this variation. Preparing with your inhale. And then on your exhale, extending all the way up to the bottom of the ribs if you can support it. On the next exhale, you lower from that point, lengthening the sides of the waist along with the hips and the legs. Please do a 3rd repetition. Very good. When you've lowered from the last one, bring your arms back along your sides. Allow your shoulders to relax forward, so it'll feel kind of slumpy here. We'll fix that. We'll be doing just 2 repetitions of dart. And so I encourage you to pay a lot of attention to the details. The first thing we do is to correct the shoulders, kegling and inhaling, picking up the arms along your sides and feel balance returning to the shoulder girdle. Stretch long through the fingers and elbows. And as you exhale and stretch long through the legs, bring your chest up to a hover, projecting the upper body forward and up just a couple of inches above the surface of the mat. Feel your triceps along with the length of your legs. Inhale, opening the chest, and then exhale, lowering down. Allow the shoulders to release forward. Beginning the next one, same conscious action through the placement of your arms and your shoulders. As you exhale and move into extension, same connection through the legs, stretching, connecting inner thighs, lengthening through the crown. When you've lowered from this one, pause. We have 2 more repetitions where we come into our hover. Hands under the forehead for breaststroke prep number 3. Hands can stay down when you extend, or they can come up with you. Get back into your legs. Find your kegel and inhale downward into the hips. And then as you exhale, reach and rise. Stretching, lengthening, lifting, holding, inhale before exhaling and lowering. Only one more. Continue when you're ready. After returning, sit back into shell stretch just briefly. Rounding the spine and not only releasing the muscles that you were just using to extend, but rounding the flat areas. Yeah. Distributing the curve through your length and breathing into it. Have 2 more rounds of inhales and exhales. And when you're done with that last one, roll up and come into a seated position. So we're gonna sit up, and you can sit on a cushion or a chair. Before we do half roll back, we're gonna do the 100 breathing, but in a neutral upright spine. So I know it's kind of a weirdo Friday, so we're doing a little bit of a strange workout. This has a point. So this is in an effort to return to the relationship of breath, particularly to exhale. But of course, you'll continue to find core, your pelvic floor as you inhale. So placing your hands on your low belly, have an exhale and imagine transverses connecting from bottom to top, snugging in the sides of the waist, and internally, not externally bearing down, right? Internally, feel that upward movement of energy. And then divide that up into 5 pieces and do it again. Kegel and inhale. 2 more times. Kegel and inhale. Feel that each increment of the exhale stretches you a little bit longer, introducing a little bit more spaciousness in the spine. And then keep one hand on your belly and place one hand on your chest. Now, as you do those 5 exhales, don't compress the chest. So rather than, right? The second one even just looks harder. It looks like it hurts. Do the one that allows you to keep open through the top of your spine. Try one more time. And then inhale and relax. And we get ready for half roll back. So bring your feet to the floor. Knees can be bent. And if it's better for you to have your hips long or your legs longer, you can give yourself a little more space. Ball between the inner thighs. Either feet are fine, knees are fine. And again, if that's just an unsustainable prop for you to use, don't use it. We're gonna do half roll back, and then in half roll back position, we will do a set of the 100. So you get where you need to get height-wise from the ground. Find your sitting bones. Know that we're going to be pulling our pelvis back away from our legs. So this is flexion here at the hips. We're going to open that flexed angle. Extend your arms forward and recenter the shoulder blades. Stretch your fingers and your elbows. Engage your triceps. Lift the roof of your mouth back. Kegel, inhale all the way down in an unbroken line. Squeeze the ball and exhale. Round your lower spine, opening the flexed position of the hips. Pulling your pelvis back away from your thighs, the upper body glides along. Kegel, inhale, squeeze the ball, and exhale, crown lifts, and you close the angle at the hips, right? Returning to the original flexion, bringing the pelvis forward to the thighs. Exhale, roll back, opening the angle at the hips, using your lower abs to pull your pelvis away from your thighs. Stay, Kegel, inhale, and then exhale, bring your pelvis close to your thighs. Of course, the upper body comes along. And we do 2 more repetitions. Continue as you're ready for that. So not only are we using our lower abs, we're also using our deep hip flexors in the inner part of the thigh that go up through the bottom of the pelvis, right? One more. I've got my one leg straightened so you can see what I'm doing. Abs contract to pull the pelvis away from the thighs. You keep your abs, and then you add deep hip flexors to bring you forward. And then relax. So that deep hip flexor thing is sometimes why this can make the top of your thighs hurt. We're going to try and stay out of that, continue to recruit the lower abs, and do the 100 in this seated position. So bending the knees, ball if it's useful. Maybe you want to use a set of weights. Okay. If you're using a set of weights, I suggest a palms up position. Know that as you roll back, go ahead, squeeze the ball, exhale, do that here. You want to find a position that you can sustain over the course of 100 breaths. When you're there, abs working like crazy, hip flexors stretched, then begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kegel, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kegel, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continuing, 8 more sets, total of 10. Do not let the action of the arms bump the base of your neck or press down through the top of your chest. So it might even just be breath work and not a lot of action through your arms. Support the arms, whether they're moving or still, from the lower abs and from your core, releasing your jaw and neck. And just like the normal hundreds, when you're done, inhale and exhale, roll forward, deep hip flexors, inner thighs, lower abs. Yes, having done that, you lower your arms and you can round forward over your legs for a moment if that feels good. Might also feel good just to kind of open the legs up a little bit. We are going to, in essence, do that next, opening and closing that angle at the hips by moving into roll down or roll up, right? Depending on where you are as you go into it. So if you're sitting on something really high or you're sitting on a low stool or chair, you want to go back onto the ground. You can use weights here too if you like. I think I might try weights this morning. You can have a little mat ready for your head. Okay. And your legs stretched out long. So we still have that angle at the hips, and we're still using our abs to pull the pelvis away, yeah? Arms forward. Now here, if you're using weights, you can have the inside of the palms facing each other. If you're just reaching your arms, have palms flat. Take a breath. And then on your exhale, stretch through the legs, engaging inner thighs, and begin to roll back using your lower abs to pull your pelvis up and away from the top of your thighs. Round your spine without collapsing your neck. Upper back lands, shoulders land, head lands, and the arms reach. Kegel and inhale. Nod, bring the arms forward, and exhale, bend forward. Please do 3 more. Feeling the sequential nature of the motion with regard to the spine, and also feeling that action of opening and closing the hip joints in front. Instead of using the muscles on the outer part of your hips and thighs, use the inner chain. All right, so that inner thigh work that I've been suggesting is not accidental or without a point. Good, you guys. Now the last one you do, you continue through your set, is going to be a half a one because we'll end down on the mat. Beautiful. Continue opening the chest and the shoulders and supporting the weight of the arms with your core, releasing your jaw and your neck. That's it. When you get to the point of lowering that last time, and we're probably almost there, just lie flat for a moment. Rest your arms down, of course, by your sides. Put your weights off to the side. And eventually bend your knees. Right, so again, playing with the angle at the hips with your bent knees. Oh, and you might want to put a ball between your knees or your feet. We are going to move into shoulder bridge. Exploring the relationship of the torso to the legs through the hips. We're in our neutral here. We've got a little bit of angle of flexion. And in a moment when we press up, we're going to be opening, right, into a neutral line, a neutral hip extension through the axis of the hips. You want your feet firmly into ground so that you can use your hip extensors. So think the back of the hip area, the glutes specifically. We take a breath in using your Kegel to pull that uninterrupted inhale all the way down. And then squeeze the ball, activating inner thighs. And as you exhale and press down through the feet, you lift the hips up. Use your lower abs to pull the pelvis away from the top of your thighs. So that as you come up, you've got good hip extension and good support for the low back. Take a breath. Squeeze the ball, exhale, and allow yourself to lower, relaxing the glutes and maintaining your core to help stabilize the neutral spine. Take a breath, squeeze the ball, exhale, press down through the feet, apply your glutes and lift your hips. Lower abs gently helping to open the front of the hips. You'll feel the quads stretching. Center your feet so that you're not rotating in or out. And then exhale and lower. Please do 2 more. Yes. That centering of the feet means also to center the knees and center the hips. So as you go into your last repetition, try to avoid any feeling of torque or twist in those joints. A straight line of connection or integration all the way down into ground. Mm-hmm. Good. When you've lowered, take the ball out and stretch out long. And then roll over onto your front. You might want the ball again. We are going to do heel, squeeze, and UFO. If you prefer not to use it, just know that, sneezing, you'll have the heels together. So returning to our neutral prone position, the bottom of the pubic bones, bottom of the pelvis on the ground comfortably and stable. The ribs are supported and lined up. And we've got our hands under our forehead. Although if there's a different place for your hands that feel better, that's fine. We're going to be squeezing the heels together, and we are going to apply also a little bit of rotation on purpose to the hips, but listen, not the knees, not the ankles. So as you lie on your belly, you'll have a kind of wide stance through the legs. I like to use the outer edges of my mat for reference. And then flex your feet and bend them. If you've maintained parallel through the hips and everything, the heels will be apart. So from the hips, right up next to the pubic bones, you're going to rotate outward and bring the heels together. Right. No twist in the knees or ankles. So once you have found that, you can put your ball between the heels if you prefer to use it. If not, no worries. Then head rest down. Taking a breath here. On the next exhale, without twisting the knees, I want you to squeeze through the inner thighs, and you'll feel it sort of just inboard and downstream of the sitting bones. Kegel, inhale, soften that connection. And then as you exhale, re-engage it, not the lower back, but below the hips rather than above. Inhale. And I can't stress strongly enough the importance of not twisting the knees. Keep the feet gently flexed to give you reference for the bottom of the lower leg. We have one more squeeze without anything fancy. Inhale, soften. Pausing here. We're going to do a second set, either of just the squeezes or of adding the lift going into UFO. A little bit more for the glutes. Remember the importance of using the lower abs to keep the front of the hip open. Take a breath in, kegling. And then exhale, begin to squeeze below and inboard of the sitting bones, and then use your glutes to lift the back of your thighs. Lower back is open. We hold here, inhale, and exhale, lower down. When the knees are on the ground, soften a little bit the inner thigh squeeze, kegel and inhale, and then re-engage inner thighs and lift the back of them with your glutes as you support with your abs in front. Hold, inhale, exhale and lower. Please do two more, moving only on the exhale breath. This is a good one for balancing the tone and the timing of glutes and lower abs. So really the front and back of your pelvis. When you have lowered from the last one, sit back into shell stretch. And as always, I wait for you, so no rushing. Shell stretch, you can sit on your heels or you can sit on your hips and round forward that way. Both those things work. This time we'll add a little side stretch. So If you're sitting on your heels, you just walk your hands over to the right. If you're sitting on your hips, go ahead and twist to the right and bend a little bit in that direction, supporting with your right hand on the mat, maybe your left hand around your knees. Have another breath in and out in your side stretch. And the next time you exhale, return through center. Take it over to the other side. And when you've got your stretch, breathe in and out in place before releasing on exhale. Please sit up. And you're free to sit on a low stool, a cushion, a blanket, even a chair. Okay. If you like, you can use a ball or a prop between your feet or your knees. Knees if you're sitting on a chair, probably feet if you're lower to the ground. And we do twist here. So a couple of options with the hands, either together at the chest or wide. Feel that, oh, maybe not extending the arms to the side yet, feel that you're on top of the sitting bones and the breath has the ability to travel up and down along with the line of gravity. And resolve to remain aligned with gravity as you twist through your axis. Extend the arms if you haven't yet. Open the chest, Kegel inhale. Divide the exhale up into 3 sections as you twist a little. Twist a little more. And twist to the end of your range, keeping head and shoulders square. Kegel inhale, return. Continue other side. Here we go. We're exhaling repetitively, engaging more deeply in the core, stretching upward without compressing the chest. Return through center. Continue first side. Lower abs, supporting the breath. The breath direction moving upward, taking us out of compression. Second side. We do again across the sides on your own breath timing. Upper chest and upper back entirely open. Head on a vertical line over the pelvis, no drag on the shoulders. And when you've returned from the last one, lower your arms. Good, you guys. So we are going to go ahead and do another exercise that relates to half rollback. You want to bend your knees. We've done this before. It's called obliques rollback. All it means is that as we roll back, opening the angle at the hips, we're also adding a twist, sweeping the arms back. Oh, and we pulse it twice. So if I'm doing the same side and I'm doing the correct breath, we prepare with an inhale and we exhale. And then inhale, return. Same idea. We've just added a little bit of complexity with the movement. So we have our knees bent, or you're sitting in your chair. Sit in a chair, especially if it feels like that's a lot. Right? Arms are in front. Make sure you have room in back of you, however. Kegel and inhale. And on your exhale, begin to roll back and sweep the arm. Exhale again. Exhale again, opening into twist. Kegel inhale all the way up, other side. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale up. Continuing across the sides, feeling an opening and spreading across the top of the chest as well as the upper back. Lengthening through the stem of the neck without displacing the head forward or back. Feeling how the lower abs help to mediate the angle at the hips. Inner thighs working as well. One more to each side. The pulsed exhale creating greater tone in the core as the breath travels upward. Beautiful. When you've returned, right, pause and lower your arms. Allow yourself to round forward for a moment. We are going to return to the ground and lie on our bellies with the head supported on the hands. We're almost there, guys. I promise not to keep you late today. We are going to do a final hip extension to open that angle and create some space there. It might have gotten a little bit activated with the last exercise. So think hip extension from prone. And we'll eventually carry it into a little flutter kick through the legs with the option of extending the arms forward and taking it into a full swimming. So as you lie down, make sure you have space in front of you if you know you're going to take that option. There we go. I probably should have said that first. You guys are so patient. Okay, lie on your belly. At first, the hands are under the head for everyone. We make sure that the bottom of the pelvis is comfortably settled into ground. We've got matching tone through low abs and glutes, and the legs are stretched super long, toes pointed, inner thighs engaged. Prepare by kegling and inhaling. And then on your exhale, stretch through the length of the legs and lift them up with the glutes. Hold that lift of the legs, releasing the neck, and then exhale, legs lower. We lift 2 more times, preparing with your inhale and exhaling to extend length through the whole body as you lift the legs up, using your glutes. As you increase your glutes, you're going to need to increase your lower ab tone. As you breathe, you reinforce your core, lowering on exhale. Next one is the last one, and we'll take it into flutter kick for sure, and maybe swimming. Prepare. And exhale, stretch and lengthen the legs, lifting them from the ground. Now, if you're going to extend the arms, take a moment, balance on the front of the pelvis, and on your exhale, lift the upper body as well, extending the arms in front of you, Superman style. And then beginning the flutter kick of the legs, continuing your breathing. Arms and legs in opposition to each other. Still, but not gripped through the spine. Simply stretched and calm. No need to wag the tail or the head. Removing the arms and the shoulders perhaps, and the legs and the hips for sure. We have half a minute more. I am watching my clock. Steadily breathing in and out. You'd be counting the beats in your head. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. We have 10 more seconds. Keep that breath steady. One more round of inhale and exhale. Breathe out completely. Pause. Bring your hands back to your forehead if your arms are extended. And exhale, everything lowers to ground. Roll over and lie on your back, hugging your knees to your chest once you're there. Give yourself a nice cozy squeeze and lower your shoulders from your ears. You can have your eyes closed if you like. Rock a little side to side. You can even take the legs in circles if that feels good. You're about 30 seconds out from finish. And then as the lower back finds ease, lower the feet gently to ground and stretch the legs long, unfolding your arms and laying them by your sides. Again, eyes can be open or closed. When you're in your long stretched position, commit to 3 full breath cycles. Inhaling, maybe counting the length of breath in your head, and exhaling for the same length. Breathing in when it's time. Allowing complete ease in the body, not even trying to engage muscles. You let the exhale just spill out. And one more. Good, you guys. And that is our Friday class for this morning. We'll turn the recording off. You guys have a great day. Thanks for coming.